He deserves a victory lap. He is the director of The Last Dance. Jason Hehir joins us on the program. Good morning, Jason. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. How does it feel to exhale?
Um, Kind of surreal because this is the first day that I haven't literally had to worry about something to do with the making of the show in at least 2.5 years, actually well over that. So um, yeah, it's a lot of mixed emotions. I was telling someone last night that it's kind of like how you feel when you graduate, like a high school or a college graduation. You know, for years you say, "I can't wait to get out of this place. I can't wait." And then when that moment happens, and you look around, you see you're not going to see these people again. You're not going to be in a phase of your life like that again. Uh, I get sentimental in those times. This was a significant chapter of my life. I'm 43 and I spent over 4 years on this thing, or almost 4 years in this. That's about 10% of my life that I spent on this story. So it's definitely bittersweet.
When's the last time you spoke to Jordan?
Um, when we interviewed him in December.
Oh, so you haven't spoken to him at all after this came
No,
out?
no, I don't have a relationship with him like that. No, I've spoken to him, a handful of times my entire life, and half of those are when we sat down for cameras.
If I said you get one more question to Jordan, what would it be?
Ooh, um, that's a tough one. We laughed at the end of the final episode, or the final interview. We laughed because I said, "Anything you want to add?" And he said, "I think we pretty much covered everything."
Yeah.
And we both laughed a little bit. I'd have to think about that. You put me on the spot.
What's the story that you don't think you got the full answer to?
Mm, well, anything to do with Kraus, of course, is, I would love to know if he regretted that. That would be one of my main questions: is do you regret saying to Phil Jackson, "You can go 82-0 and you're not coming back to coach this team"? Because that was what made everything untenable. I believe if he doesn't say that, if he doesn't draw a line in the sand like that, then uh, Jerry Reinsdorf offers him another year and he can still maybe make that happen. And if Phil makes it happen, then the rest of the team's going to make it happen. And you can argue about what would have happened in that season to come. But that's one that's always going to be kind of a blind spot for us because we just don't have Jerry Krause's opinion on this.
Did Karl Malone decline to be interviewed?
Yes.
Did he say why?
No. He declined through another party. We asked him multiple times.
Did you try to reach out through Stockton to Malone, or?
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah, there were, believe me, we exhausted just about every avenue. We started in January of 2018 on that one because we knew
Wow.
that he was going to be a tough sell. And I tried right up until, I think I told you earlier this month that we interviewed John Stockton on March 10th. We were really up until literally the last possible day to do these interviews. So we tried and tried with Karl. We tried to get them to sit down together. Thought that might be a better option. He'd feel more comfortable with that, but there was just no convincing him.
Anybody of note aside from Malone who said no?
Brian Russell.
Ooh.
Um, that, you know what? That was just a no response. We never got anything back from him. And I think, out of respect to Brian, I think he knew what questions we were going to ask. So maybe he didn't want to go there, but there's really nobody else of note that declined.
You okay with the pizza story? Now it's food poisoning, not the flu here, Jace?
Absolutely. And I can shed a little bit of light on that as well.
Okay.
So a lot of people I saw online last night, and people were texting me asking, like, what kind of guy eats an entire pizza in a room full of grown men? Who doesn't grab a slice? What happened was that they're on the outskirts of Salt Lake. They're not staying in Salt Lake proper. They're kind of in the suburbs or on the edge of town. And there are limited food options out there. And at the time that George and Gus and Tim, actually Gus wasn't there, but Tim Grover and George and all the security guards ordered dinner, room service was working then, and Michael wasn't hungry, or he wasn't there, I think. So he came back and he was pissed off because they ate without him. So it gets to be about 10, 11 o'clock and he's hungry. This is the story that he told us.
Okay.
So they find a place that delivers pizza, and he says, nobody touched this pizza. This is my pizza. You guys ate without me. So he spat on the pizza so that nobody else could eat it. And that's how we know that nobody else. Now, did he finish the pizza himself? I don't know, but he did say that he spit on the pizza so that nobody else could eat it. And I think he had been known for doing this. I heard a story one time about how this is public, that he was on a commercial shoot and someone gave him homemade brownies and his security guards were in the trailer and he said, "No one touch these brownies. These are mine." And he spat on them and he went and did the shoot. So, but he did tell us that we didn't have time to put it into the story. But a lot of people said, "Well, why would he eat an entire pizza?" That's why.
I was told that he stayed in Park City.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair? You said they're on the outskirts of Salt Lake. I was told that Michael would stay in Park City and not in Salt Lake City.
By himself?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, I don't know if he was by himself. I don't think he was staying with the team.
Well, he was with the team, though, in 98. He comes back to the hotel and he's with the team. So I know he stayed with the team in Utah in 98. I'm not sure about 97, but I know we have cameras there. I think he got the same suite every time he went to Utah. He would stay in the suite that had that piano.
Well, that's why I didn't know if he was. You said he was on the outskirts, and then somebody said no, they stayed at the Marriott in downtown Salt Lake, which is not very far from the arena. But these are just details here. I'm trying to piece it all together because I want to find out about this pizza thing. And would security allow 5 guys, Jason, to deliver a pizza? And the answer is no.
Doubtful, but I don't know. I don't know who was working the door that night. I'm sure no one called, and I don't think Michael called and said, "Hi, this is living legend Michael Jordan. Could you deliver a large pepperoni to my room?" I think it was the pizza's going up to room 522, and there's a conceivable world in which the guy working the front desk says to the dudes, "Hey, that's Jordan's room that you're going to deliver a pizza to." I can't believe that there were 5 guys working at a pizza joint on the outskirts of Salt Lake City. At one, there might be 5 pizzeria employees in that entire time zone at that point. So
you worked so hard for 4 years, and this is what I want to ask you about.
Yeah. No, I expected it.
That's great. If there's no baseball strike, what happens to Michael Jordan?
I think he becomes a major leaguer. I think that he makes the White Sox that following year, and I think if he enjoys playing baseball, which I imagine he would have, if he doesn't get an itch too much to come back to basketball, that we're not having this conversation, because I think that he could have finished his career as a baseball player. That's my opinion. I've been down this road in the last 5 weeks or so that I say that now all of a sudden it's a headline that Michael Jordan would have played. That's my opinion. That I think that he was passionate enough about baseball and loved it so much and loved that reset that he got when he went to Birmingham. And I do firmly believe, for myriad reasons, that he would have made the major leagues, including the fact that none other than Terry Francona says he needed 1,000 more bats to get up there.
Did he address the baseball strike, and what that meant to his baseball career and his basketball career?
I honestly forget. I could look it up right now, but I do know that the baseball strike left a sour taste in his mouth. There's no way he was going to cross that picket line. He was not going to be a scab. He knew that. And I don't think he had any intentions of going back to basketball that year. He was firmly committed because he had hit, I think, 268 in the fall league. He hit 202 for Birmingham. Then he went to the fall league and hit 268 or 264. He was improving, and he was really excited for that season. And then what happened. So he was left really with no choice but to leave baseball and either retire from sports altogether or come back to the Bulls.
I mentioned this last hour, and it caught some people off guard. I said there was part of me that felt sorry for Michael Jordan. And that is, this is who he is every day. We admire it from afar. He lives in this world where everything is competition. Back then, everything. I don't know how much he enjoyed it as much as it was a relief when he won. The expectations were so high. I don't know if he could treat his teammates any differently. And I think that's when he said, the time he sat down with you and he started to tear up, "Let's break," he didn't want to think. That's just not who he is. He doesn't allow himself to think that way. Do you understand what I'm saying? That I felt sorry for him in some regards, because the people around him back then, Ahmad Rashad and Quinn Buckner, and then the security people that he pays to be around him. I just think he lived in this world that we could never understand, relate to. And you have the great scene where he's on the couch with the cigar and he goes, "Here, this is my life here."
Yeah.
He was trapped by success.
That's a question of uber fame, right? I mean, that's separate from the torture of being that competitively driven, that you're kind of held hostage by that insatiable goal to win, win, win. And I think that there's probably people who have similar, I don't know if you call it a pathology, but similar mindsets that are must be maddening to live within. It's the fame to me that if I had any sympathy for Michael, it would be because of that.
Okay.
That I don't know that I don't know that anyone knew what kind of a prison he was putting himself in when he became that famous at just that time. There's so many aspects to this story that couldn't have happened at any other time. Michael was born in 1963. He turns 21 and joins the NBA in 1984 at the same time that David Stern comes on as new commissioner. This visionary executive who may be the greatest commissioner ever comes in at the same time as Michael. At the same time that satellite and cable TV start proliferating all over the country and all over the globe. At the same time that we're commodifying American pop culture all over the planet. At the same time that Black Americans, Black entertainers are being welcomed into homes. So all of a sudden it's Eddie Murphy and Bill Cosby and Prince and Michael Jackson. This is something that couldn't have happened 10 years earlier. So many of those things happened. In addition to that was the proliferation of electronic tabloid journalism. So you had hard copy and Inside Edition and these kind of shows. It was kind of like the prequel to TMZ culture. And Michael was caught up in that maelstrom. And if this had happened 10 years earlier, maybe he's Magic Johnson and he's not, on gigantic murals halfway around the globe. He's just a national star. Every single thing happened for better or worse. Everything happened exactly at the right time for the story to become what it was.
What's the next project?
I don't know. I'm getting that question a lot. I don't know. And I was joking to you a while back that I need just a nap and a cold beer, and I still need that. Last night was a late night just because the adrenaline, and I heard from a lot of people after the show, and I Zoomed with my family for about an hour afterwards, and that was a way of bringing us together because of course like all families we miss the hell out of each other right now. So I haven't gotten a chance to really sit back and think about anything else. This is really the first day where I haven't been actively working or worrying about this series, because for better or worse, now it's done. There's nothing I can do about it. It's out there now. It's out in the world.
What about the 11th episode? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I would love to have Andy Thompson, who was, part of the genius behind all of this, let him talk about, I just think the people behind the scenes in gathering all of this, knowing that it might not ever air and that you're getting this stuff, and we didn't hear the stories of what they were shooting. They kept it quiet there. I don't know. Outtakes would be great. I would like to know when Michael said break, what was Jordan like after he became emotional talking about the way he is to his teammates? When he got up, what happened next? He
composed himself really quickly. We had a couple of his people were there. I can tell you that Ahmad was there. Ahmad had come with him because they had golfed earlier in the day, and they're of course really close friends. And I remember Ahmad, like Michael was composing himself, and Ahmad from the corner of the room said, "Kill or be killed." And he started laughing. I don't think he realized, because he couldn't see Michael. Michael was blocked by lights and cameras and things. So I don't think that he could realize that Michael was getting emotional. And I think that he thought that Michael just got tired or had to get up for some reason. So he was joking off camera. And so that immediately put Michael at ease. And, he took a puff of the cigar and sat back down. We rolled pretty quickly. And the thing was, too, I know that you've seen this side of him, is that he snapped right back into it, and he started just busting the balls of one of our camera guys who was wearing shorts and had huge calves. He said, "You got big calves, man. You play football?" And he was a good friend of mine, John Roach. He said, "No, basketball." He goes, "Oh, it's this big, slow white kid, man." And everyone burst out laughing. We're right back into that charismatic Michael. So he knows how to flip the switch.
So the headline here is Michael spit on the pizza, so the guys in the room
I don't want that to be the headline. No.
Oh, you don't want it to be?
Well,
you got no control over that.
The fact is that the headline, this is your newspaper, so you can do what you want with it.
Oh, God. Hey, it was fun. I hope you are able to sit back and enjoy it. Sometimes you get so close to it that it sort of takes over your life. But it was for sure. It was a story well told there, and you should really feel good about yourself there, Jason.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. Go have that beer and get that nap. Have the nap and then the beer. Or have the beer, then the nap, Jace.
We'll wait till about noon, and then I'll make a decision.
All right. That's Jason Hehir. He's the director of The Last Dance.